To pick up a bit on what Colonel Buell said, I do own a suit and a sport coat, but I wore my Levi's and a sport jacket because a month ago today we were here with Jim and with the elements of the 5th Marines, and he looked awful good. I got home, Terry told Sharon, I said, Jim looked good as I've ever seen him. And so, it's an honor of Jim that you all are here and that we are here. And I think you know, Terry, there are a considerable number of caisson veterans. A handful came from the East Coast out of honor to you and Jim, and they're here with us today. Our beloved Terry and family, fellow Marines, sheepdogs in the audience, and ladies and gentlemen, in a tradition as old as recorded history, tribes that gather together most often to celebrate and memorialize weddings and births, and to celebrate the life of cherished loved ones, husbands, wives, children, family relatives, and highly respected members of our tribe who have passed. Also in attendance were old warriors, survivors of past battles, now gray, slightly stooped, perhaps walking with a limp, and a port-side list from now healed old battle wounds. All with a common purpose: to pay respect to their departed cherished loved ones, perhaps remembering with a slight smile and a sparkle in the eye, for a small period of time that overshadows misty eyes, a heavy soul, and heart-filled sadness of the occasion, as they individually and collectively told light, true stories that shared these moments, which with true greatness and compassion, courage and love, proudly proclaim to all in sight and hearing that we who are here today can once again see the now lighted passages of Valhalla, our loved ones with his companions, while they await the arrival of their cherished loved ones, or rise and respectfully greet one of their newly arriving warrior brothers. Miss Terry and family, it is in this celebration of honor that we are here to be with you and the family as we memorialize this good and righteous man, this highly decorated Marine, and always firm, fair, consistent 40-year member of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, Sergeant Jim Kaylor. I won't take up but a moment or two more of time, but I would like to relate with you a couple of, to me, heartwarming, and I will never remember, the thoughts of Jim. He had been asked, I believe by then Colonel Paxton, to perform a primary military instruction on a Friday when they were opening up Buller's command post out at the 1st Marine Regiment. Jim called and asked if I'd meet him out there as kind of moral support, and I told him I would. And there were a lot of staff NCOs, officers, and some of Jim's favorite people, corporals and lance corporals, were in attendance. And Jim, as you all know, was never ever lost for words. He was well turned out, as Colonel Buell indicated. I think he even had his sidearm, looking good. And he gave an extemporaneous 20 or 30 minutes on tactics at the small unit level, intermixed with some stories from Quezon. All in all, just a superb delivery that only Jim could do. And after the applause and everybody sat back down again, he turned to me, without a word being said, mind you, and Colonel Buell and Miss Terry, you know that this is true, you can see it. He said, now, Lieutenant Colonel Ken Pipes will have a few words for you. And I said to myself, you've got to be kidding me. Because I was there, you know, because he asked me to come, and then he turned around and put me right on the hot griddle. And I don't even remember, frankly, what I said. But it didn't matter, because after we then had a cold beer or two or three, and it reverted back to the normal camaraderie and the normal enjoyment that goes with such occasions. The other one is a little more cogent. And again, it's my part, but they had a Marine Corps birthday ball on the base out at the Staff NCO Club, huge, a lot of people in attendance. There were a smattering of 3-star generals and 2-stars and 1-stars and lots of colonels. And there was a table full of Quezon veterans back in the far corner. I am by nature not a drinker, although I enjoy a libation once in a while. So I came with a sheriff friend of mine, one of my mentors from the San Diego Sheriff's Department, a now retired Lieutenant Derek Clark, whose last job was head of the North County Gang Task Force, my mentor. So I invited him to go. He had on his Class A, looking good. We sat down, the event started, and drinks showed up. Derek went up, and he liked Bushmills. I drink beer normally because I'm from Bakersfield, and so he brought this Bushmills over, and I had a shot, and then someone else got up, and they brought some back, had another shot, and I went up, bought one, and this is about the 4th one around, and I said, I'll have another at that table back there that these boys been buying, and he said, okay, and he was pouring doubles. You know, I can't drink 3 or 4 beers, and Sharon puts me in lockup for about a month. And I had 8 at least shots of Bushmill. So they took a break, and these Hollywood types that were the guests of honor, you know what I'm talking about, that was a poor choice. But I had gone out in the front of the club to kind of breathe deep and clear my head up, you know, because I was not doing very well at all. So they put these Hollywood types in their limousines, and they left, and these 3 generals were walking back into the club. And I said, hey, gents, excuse me for a minute. And they looked around like, who's this guy? And I said, you know, back at table 86 is full of Quezon veterans. And you might want to just go back over there on your way by and pay your respects to them. And guess what? I walked in, and there they were. So the evening progressed, and Jim had my car keys to my truck, and we live in Fallbrook. And I'm about to wrap up here. And we were going to stay with Tom Strain. He and I were in Oceanside for obvious reasons. So I told Jim I had to go get something out of my truck because I want to go home. And I got in the truck, and I got my keys, and I took off to Fallbrook. If an MP had stopped me and asked me to get out of the car, I'd probably fallen in the road. So I got home. Sharon put up with me the next morning, and I said, oh man, I got to call Jim, because he probably really worried. And I did, and I wish I hadn't, frankly, called him, because it was a really, really short conversation. I said, Jim, this is Ken. I wanted to let you know I got home safe, And I won't say what he said except for the law dogs here. He said, "You're an Adam Henry," and hung up on me. Slammed the phone down, and he said, "I don't want to talk to you anymore." But that was Jim. He forgot about that quickly. He's a righteous and honorable man as I've ever had the privilege of knowing and serving with. In a much different way. We're going to miss him too, Miss Terry. Men like him don't just fall off the turnip truck every day. They don't come in yesterday's mail. They're good and righteous men. And I can say what an honor it is to be here with you and the family today. And to see the vast number of people that have come out to pay their respects to a man who in our formation will always be blank. Because there's not anyone who comes to my mind that will ever be able to take his place. So God bless. We all love you and the family. And we love him. In the way that men love, we loved him dearly. Thank you for this opportunity. God bless you all. And Semper Fidelis.